If you do come to the Balkans though, I very much recommend trying out their Burek. And for those of you who are asking me, what is a Burek? Well, let me sing it to you.
It's meat pie, it's golden and flaky. At tea time, everybody eats me. I'll stare directly through the window of the pastry shop. It must be so tasty, always going to fill up my belly.
What's the first thing you think of when I say to you the country, Northern Macedonia? Yeah, that's right, you think of nothing. That's because it's the weirdest named country I think I've been to in Europe so far. Behind me is this fort that was built by the Romans and then eventually conquered by the Ottomans, the Bulgarian Empire, the Yugoslavians, and now, finally, by the Northern Macedonians. The reason why it's called Northern Macedonia is because it annoyed the Greeks too much. Obviously in Greece there's a region of the north called Macedonia, and also the flag annoyed them too much. So as recently as 2018, the country changed its name to Northern Macedonia, so the Greeks didn't get all upset, and they also changed their flag as well, so the Greeks again weren't upset. That allowed Northern Macedonia to join NATO and hopefully one day the EU as well. I've been in the city now for one night and I think it's one of the weirdest places I've ever been. But let me show you that today as I venture around Skopje as a solo traveller. The call to prayer there, something that you think about when you think of Turkey or maybe the Middle East, but certainly not Europe anyway. The first time that you normally experience the call to prayer as a European is when you go to Turkey, but in the Balkans obviously there are still a large Muslim majority here and a large Christian Orthodox minority or majority depending on which Balkan country you're in. Obviously that's still a source of contention now and still leads to strife. However, Macedonia is interesting is that when it split up from Yugoslavia, it was quite peaceful. It wasn't as involved as in the war as much as Kosovo and Albania and Serbia were. So it became peaceful after the fall of Yugoslavia, but then that was when the issues started with the Greeks, who basically blocked Macedonia from joining anything that could help them out or anything that could help them be part of the modern world because they were so contentious about their flag and the naming of their country. Let's head into the old bazaar, which is this whole area. It's one of the Balkans' largest bazaars, which is mostly a modern tourist trap now. But I'm going to try and look for a drink called Boza, which sounds quite interesting. Let's go and have a look for it anyway. Hello. Do you do Boza? Yeah. Boza. Can I have one Boza, please? Thank you. Anyway, cheers to some Boza. It looks like chocolate milk in a way. Oh, that's really strange. It's very thick, the liquid, and it tastes a little bit like alcohol and vinegar, and just a hint of creaminess. Here we've got a mural, which is a mosaic. Very well done, but you can see, again, dominated by the Albanian flag, just like it was on the border yesterday. They feel, or certainly it's going to be like Kosovo, split between ethnically Serbian, ethnically Albanian, ethnically Baltic. Very interesting. From this giant statue of Alexander the Great and to the neoclassical buildings that you see in the background, you'd think that Skopje was this neoclassical masterpiece, but that couldn't be further from the truth. all of these buildings that you see around, and in fact all of these giant statues that adorn all of Skopje, were all built in 2014. It was predicted to cost the government about 105 million euros, but eventually up to about 550 million euros, which is just an insane amount of money. You think, oh, you could spend that on the train network, perhaps developing the roads, building hospitals, but they've built all these statues in an attempt to do two major things, really. The first major one is to give Macedonians a sense of themselves. Obviously they had their country name changed, they had their flag changed, they had to deal with the fallout of Yugoslavia only 30 years ago, so they built all these statues to give the impression of a Macedonian identity. And the second one is that it's interesting for tourists. They can make the whole city centre a giant tourist thing. Even you can see on this bridge here, you can see statues going across the whole of the bridge, and the whole city is like this. There are so many statues everywhere, but none of them are explained. Like there's this one, and this could just be men waiting for a bus, but I'm sure it's got some historical significance. Obviously we all know Alexander the Great, who was from Macedonia, but that was possibly where the Greek side was as well. So even that is a confused identity, which makes me think, why does Macedonia even need to be a country? Couldn't it just, I think the former Yugoslavia should come back and the nation should be dissolved. That's what I think anyway. But let's go and have a look at some more bizarre statues that are on the way to where I'm going to go and get some lovely traditional Balkan lunch from. Let's go. Behind me we have the National Parliament building of Northern Macedonia. You can even see some damage here on the left-hand side where there were protests about 2 years ago against the government. There's a big problem with corruption and crime here. But here's an example. There's a statue here of this ex-Christian journal who fought against the Ottomans, apparently. Then there's this statue here. No one knows what it is. But then over here we have Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and gave it to the humans. We've got some sort of Brandenburg Gate statue and some weird rotunda thing. It's a bit like Washington DC, but with none of the actual meaning behind it, I suppose. What Skopje reminds me of is, you know, when you were like 10 years old and you used to play Sim City Builder and make your own city, and you used to just put like random statues around, like, oh, this statue would look nice here, this statue would look nice here, let's put a World War II statue here, let's put a Prometheus God statue, let's put this Brandenburg Gate look-alike. That will make my city look nice. Sim City, the Balkan expansion pack. But anyway, we're going to go to the Macedonian Museum of Independence now to marvel at the waxwork figures. Let's go. Anyway, if you do come to Skopje, I recommend that museum. Good use of waxworks, good use of history, and basically the history of Macedonia is, oh, we want to be free, we want to be free. Oh, finally the invaders have left us. Oh no, here come the Ottomans. We want to be free, we want to be free. Oh, we're free. Oh no, here come the Bulgarians, and so on and so on. Not that much to do here. Once you've done the walking tour and go up to the statues and things, that's about it. So yeah, we're gonna go and explore, walk along the river. Here we are at Fast Food 7, which is supposed to be Skopje's best burger place. Let's go and find out for ourselves. So I asked for a cheeseburger, but I got something considerably more than a cheeseburger. Look at the size of this thing. It's like a hungover dog's wet dream. I'm not really sure how I can bite into it. It's got loads of fries and cheese and all the good stuff for it. This is definitely not how you're supposed to eat it. They've managed to take the convenience out of fast food by putting the chips on the top of the burger, which makes it difficult to eat, and just all taste like chips. But you can see the cheese in there and things. They've done a good job on the sauce and the cheese. The meat is pretty low quality, I'd say. It's like a burger van sort of quality.
It's a very busy kitchen in there and lots of big queue. So clearly it's good locally, but I don't think it's that good. I think I'll make this my last bite.
Sun's going down. I'm exhausted. It's time to go for a shower. We'll call it an end to this day in Skopje, lost in the Balkans' weirdest city, I would say.